Yo, what's going on, guys? We're having a delayed episode today. It is currently 5:54 Pacific Standard Time. The scheduled time of the show was supposed to be 5 o'clock, but apparently there's this thing called like priorities and a job.
A day job?
Tip, you're embarrassing me right now. Like, what's going on here?
Dude, at work, just got off, was dealing with some issues with the customer. Just one of those things that happen. That's why I'm in the car right now, guys. I hope you can see me a little bit better, but hey, it is what it is. You got to deal with it. But we have Bob Lung on. Oh my God. The Bob Lung, the Fantasy Football Expo. Natter is here. Bob, talk to us a little bit about the Fantasy Football Expo. Just give us some tidbits on it. And then we're going to get into some consistency and some other great things. So talk to us a little bit about the Fantasy Football Expo.
Well, first off, thanks for having me on the show. Always an honor to join you guys, be a part of the Level Up team. Yeah, the Fantasy Football Expo. What can I say other than you got to be there? I mean, let's be honest. I'm going to ask two questions to everybody out there. Two questions. One, do you play fantasy football? Well, duh. You wouldn't be watching the show if you weren't. Number two, have you ever been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and do you ever plan on going there? Because if the answer to both is, yeah, I've never been there and I want to be there, and yes, I play fantasy football, then there's absolutely no reason you should not come to the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton, Ohio, August 8th through the 10th. That's right, this summer, just a few, 4 or 5 months away. And it is a 3-day weekend of fantasy football goodness, parties, poker tournaments, cornhole tournaments, an entire day with 50 trade show booths of all the top sites in the country that can learn more stuff about your dynasty leagues, your draft, redraft leagues, best ball, DFS, sports betting. We've got everything covered for you. All of that one weekend, Canton, Ohio. It's only $75 for the whole weekend. That's it. Just come, drive, fly, walk, take a dog. I don't care. Just get here and come and check this out. TheFantasyFootballExpo.com. Everything you need to know is right there. You can read it where it says like what's happening in the weekend, what's new, all kinds of great stuff there. And you can find me on Twitter at Bob_Lung or at the FF Expo. You can chat with me there as well. So there we go.
Love it. And you know what? I had the pleasure to go last year, guys. And Bob's right. It's nothing but love, nothing but fantasy football. You meet some of the greatest analysts that are out there. Last year, Marcus Grant, Debro from Football Pros. A lot of guys from Football Guys was there. And now I work with some of those guys. So it's really cool. The love, the support. JC and Iggy, they brought me in last year. Shout out to Greg Kellogg as well. They all brought me in. It was really a lot of fun. But you know what, man? Just get your butts to the Fantasy Football Expo, and maybe we'll get another plug in on it. But we need to talk about some consistency. And you know what? I got to tell you one thing. Bob Lung is a consistent person. The time that I've known Bob.
That was on time, too.
He's an accountant. He does a badass job putting on this Fantasy Football Expo. He writes the consistency guide, and I have the consistency guide with me because I was going to bring it out the other night, and I'll bring it out so you guys can see it once Bob talks about it. But I got the consistency, guys. So Bob, who will be the most consistent wide receiver who has changed teams recently in 2025?
That's a very good question, because I had to look at, because there were a couple guys I'm like, oh, well, and then I'm like, oh, he didn't change teams. So you, as you said, change teams. Yes. And sometimes consistency stays with the player. Sometimes consistency is more about the team. Right. But these two players I'm going to talk about because they're pretty equal. Not as equal as they used to be, but both of them changed teams, but I think will have just as good consistency as they had in the past, and they always had very good. First one I'm going to start with, Davante Adams to the Rams. Yeah. I don't care how old this guy is. He's an alien. He will continue to put out. He's one of the top receivers, and now you go and replace Cooper Kupp in a team that already has Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford, Kyren Williams, so much talent there. Nobody can, it's not like the Jets team or the old Raiders team where everybody can stop Davante Adams. You can't stop this team. You only can hope to contain them. for all you guys referencing back to the ESPN days. But I feel like his consistency will be there. It'll be in that 75, 80% that we're used to from him. Because teams will be watching Nacua, they'll be focusing on Connor. There's just so much that he's going to get the same volume that a Cooper Kupp did a few years ago. Maybe not that much, but still a very consistent player. And I think changing teams actually helps him because now he gets away from the messy scenario that we know of with Aaron Rodgers and company. The other guy I want to talk to, he really let a lot of people down last year, and that is one Deebo Samuel. I've loved Deebo Samuel, always been a favorite, always been a lot of my teams, always had the consistency because he can run, he can catch, he does so many things good with the ball, but last year just couldn't get it together. Injuries, once again, always kind of knocked him around. And San Francisco was kind of a hot mess. McCaffrey was hurt. We lost Ayuk for most of the year. Just didn't go well. Well, now Mr. Samuel is taking his talents to Washington. He will be there side by side with, Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz, of course, at tight end. Still a very good running back core with Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, and, of course, the, super rookie last year, Jaden Daniels. They just giving him more weapons. And again, the key here is health. But if Deebo Samuel can play 15 games at least, I think he'll be back in that top 20, top 15 in both total points and consistency. And I think the change in teams is going to help him to be the player he was in San Francisco because they're going to need him more than maybe they did in the old days. So those are the two guys I really like for maintaining, if not improving, their consistency heading into 2025 on the teams they have moved to.
All right. But Nader, before you go, look, this is the consistency guy. Everybody.
That was last year's.
That was last year's. This is last year. So look out for the 2025 one. But Bob even signed it for me, Nader. Look, I'll even show you. Look at
I didn't get one.
There it is.
Everything, man. So look, guys, go out there, get the consistency. Nader, who do you got? Do you agree with those players, Nader? I mean, I know you like Devontae Adams a little bit. What about Deebo? What are your thoughts on him?
With Deebo specifically, he went into a good system that I think would help elevate his talents to make sure that he stays consistent. The only thing is now is injury concerns because he was kind of a little bit injured last year. And that is the only thing I would be potentially afraid of because, well, not only that, but now he entered a division where they all have pretty good defenses. Dallas, they were pretty banged up last year. I expect him to be a lot better this year. And now the Eagles, historically, he's torched the Eagles throughout his career, but now a different team, different set. I would still expect him to torch the Eagles. But injury concern is probably going to be the biggest one that I would have for him. That being said, I still give him about a late 4th round draft pick. That would probably be my redraft spot for him.
So interestingly enough, right now, his ADP, and I'm going off the NFFC site, is wide receiver 42.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. He's dropped.
Wow.
Now, again, it's early, but there is zero love for Deebo right now. So, if you want to do some best ball drafts and grab you some late Deebo, I would highly recommend it because I was shocked. And Devontae's at wide receiver 22, which was even more of a shock, but not terribly off. I expected him to be 15th, but okay, 22nd. So again, got some value there. So I'm like, I need to start doing some best ball drafts, or drafters or something like that, because man, those two guys at wide receiver 22 and 42, that's some pretty good value.
Yeah. And I actually was just about to jump and say, I give Devontae Adams about an early 4th round pick because that's usually where the wide receiver 2 for the Rams always goes. That was Cooper Kupp's ADP last year. So I kind of already had him prematurely slotted there. For my pick, I kind of struggled a little bit with Brandon Cooks. Unfortunately, he's back on the Saints as the original team that drafted him. A lot of people aren't going to remember that. But he's always been that consistent near 1,000-yard receiver. But now he's kind of on the tail end on his career with an inexperienced, or I shouldn't say inexperienced. How do I politely say it for the Saints? Underdeveloped team, I think would be a nice way to say it, other than Kamara. But even then, I can't imagine he'd be a consistent player on that team. And the rest of the wide receivers realistically are, God, I don't want to say weak, but Cooper Kupp is probably going to be the best slot choice for a Mr. Consistent rather than the two previous mentioned by Bob. Cooper Kupp has always been that consistent guy. It's just the same thing with Deebo Samuel. Is he going to be healthy?
Right. Yeah, no, the Cooper Kupp situation is really, really getting it for me. It's getting intriguing because we see what this team is doing. We see that they just added Marquez Valdez-Scantling, so now they got their deep threat option. They've got two guys who can just run amok in the intermediary and short game with Cooper Kupp and JSN. They got Clint Kubiak, guys. I don't think a lot of people are talking about this. Clint Kubiak, did you see what he did the first 4 games of the season last year? Now he's get to go. I think he's going to do the same thing. I think he's going to have the first couple of games of the season where they're going to surprise us. They're going to score a bunch of points. Then they're going to start to slide in, get down to a plateau maybe. And I think Cooper Kupp is a consistent player. I do like that. I love that pick. I think that is the one that everybody is probably going to start getting back on board with because they signed him to a pretty nice contract. They signed him 3 years. So that's going to be one of those players that you got to look for consistency. He's done it before. Sam Darnold, in the right circumstance, that's the one thing I'm concerned about. In the right circumstance, can he flourish? He flourished last year because guess what? He was in the right circumstances. He had weapons galore. He had a really great offensive coordinator mind calling plays for him. So I'm curious to see what happens with Cooper Kupp. I think that he will return some consistency. Since you took Cooper Kupp away from me, Natter, I mean, it is what it is. I'm going to go to another guy. We got to talk. Look, the part of consistency is staying on the field, right? So if you're not on the field, you're not consistent. However, when Christian Kirk is on the field, he is pretty consistent, guys. So if he stays on this field and he is with the Texans now, if he's on the field with the Texans, stays on there, I think you could be a heavy key part of this offense. You got Nico Collins there. You remember, look, Tank Dell is most likely going to miss the season after that gruesome injury that he had. So I think that Christian Kirk could be a guy who can deliver some consistency. Now, the question is, where are you going to get him? Because everybody's going to think in the back of their mind, he can't stay healthy. He's always having these nagging injuries. I think he wants to prove that he's not just one of those guys that always has the nagging injuries. He's going to go against the Jaguars a couple of times a year. He may have a little bit of maybe a little revenge, not too much, maybe a little revenge for those guys. But I think that Christian Kirk, since Natter took Cooper Kupp from me, Christian Kirk's going to be the one that I would pick on that.
I will also tell you that he right now his ADP is wide receiver 56.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that. If you get a guy in ADP wide receiver 56, and he could turn into a wide receiver 3 for you, or right in that 30, 36 range, that is beautiful. That is what you want from a Christian Kirk. If he does even better than that, great. But that's what you're looking for in a consistent player.
I mean, you have to think. Stephon Diggs is gone. Tank Dell is probably also gone for the season, at least. He is slotted wide receiver 2 next to Nico Collins. I don't know, man. Would you say 58?
Yeah, they have nobody else after him. I mean, you're looking at like Justin Watson, Xavier Hutchinson.
Never heard of him.
I mean, even John Mechie, I think, is still hurt from last year, or not 100%. So basically, he's competing with John Mechie for the number 2 slot. And they improved their offensive line. Their offensive line was terrible last year. Gave up 52 sacks. That's why Stroud had such a bad year. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like there. As of right now. So we'll see if they draft somebody. We assume they might draft a receiver, but
absolutely. Yeah, they most likely will. I mean, at some part in the draft, they're going to have to get somebody out there. But I think Christian Kirk can be that slot guy, because you got to remember, Christian Kirk in Arizona, he was used in that slot, and man, he was torching cats. And so he can do the same thing in Houston. If they can get the offensive line together, like you just said, they have beefed it up. They just added Cam Robinson. That's a good piece, although they lost Laremy Tunsil. So that's another good situation for them.
I'm just glad nobody picked Laviska Shenault.
thought about it for you.
Does he play for a team? See, actually,
he got picked up by the Bills.
Oh, okay. All right, let me see.
And I was just really hoping nobody would sit
Yeah,
there
you're
and
right.
try to, you know, just a quick side note, when we're talking about the Fantasy Expo, I was thinking, like, if I go and I hear analysts start talking about Justin Fields, Laviska Shenault, Terrence Marshall,
No,
Rashad Bateman.
If you do
stuff like that,
they need to be cut off from drinking because
that and being an analyst, like, oh my God, I couldn't stand those hype trains coming out. And whenever someone says, oh, Justin Fields isn't in the right system, oh my God, I see red after that. And then it just reminds me of that one other quarterback that got drafted by the Cardinals. And what's his name? Come on, help me out here.
Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray?
No, the one before that.
Oh boy!
Come on, help me out. Then there was the same draft, I think, as like the Josh Allen draft, and then he said, "Oh, there were 9 mistakes before me."
Oh, you're talking about Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen, there we go. Josh Rosen, yeah.
From UCLA.
People be like, "Oh, yeah, Josh Rosen never entered the right." Oh my God, that went on my rant of the episode, but God, that pisses me off. Alrighty.
All right, man. So look, we went through the consistency again, guys. Go cop the consistency guide in 2025.
Yep, it'll be out May 1st.
Look, you heard it right here. So the next segment is going to be calling your shot. Natter actually came up with this last week, but we had a really good conversation with Marcus Grant and wasn't able to get to it because we were just having a great time. So Natter, I want you to call your shot on your rookie. Who are you picking to call your shot on a rookie this year, and which team are they going to be going to? Let's do first rounders.
First rounders, yeah, I think that'd be the easiest way. But I think I'm going to be going Shedeur to the Steelers. I'm calling my shot that the Steelers are going ahead and drafting him. I think he falls. Maybe character concerns. I wouldn't say character concerns, but the baggage that you get when you do draft a Sander. I think a lot of that too specifically. And I've never seen a team handle personalities like the Steelers do. I think they've been phenomenal at it. I think they are the best at it. And I think Mike Tomlin is the best at it, specifically because whenever a player leaves the Steelers, they become a nutcase, like Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and I'm sure there's a bunch of others that I can't think of off the top of my head. And the way they handle the wide receiver divas of like Martavius Bryant and George Pickens and all that good stuff. I think he would be that team would be the only team to be able to handle a personality that comes with Shedeur Sanders, and they needed a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger retired, and they haven't hit on any of them that they tried so far. So, I mean, I would go for Shedeur. Their team is pretty good to the point where they're never going to be drafting early. That defense is always elite. They'll never be drafting the top 10. They'll probably never be drafting the top 15. They're always going to be in the upper 15, low 20 section, considering they're not making the Super Bowl, but they're not making the playoffs. So this will probably be their best chance at a quarterback that falls, and I think Shedeur is going to be that one.
Huh, okay, that's interesting because we've seen teams that were linked with Shedeur, like the Raiders, like the Giants. They've got their quarterbacks now, so they're telling us something. They're telling us either we're going to wait till next year. We don't necessarily want to go with it. They're telling us something. So, Bob, let's see. Call your shot. Who is it going to be for you?
Since I'm not a real college guy, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to say that, if not mistaken, there are 2 Ohio State wide receivers, right?
Yes.
Both. No, or is it just Mbuke?
Mbuke, and then just Mbuke.
Yeah, it's just Mbuke. So wherever he goes, he will be good. Why? Because he's an Ohio State wide receiver, and that's all they do. I don't know where he's expected to go. I don't follow the mock drafts. Here, I'll see if I can find one.
It's funny you say that because Derek Brown posted something yesterday. D-Bro from Fantasy Pros. He posted he thinks that there's going to be 2 wide receivers that are picked in the first round.
That's all.
That's all. That's what his prediction was. I said. I think 3. I think that Mbuke can be that one that gets into that and he can get into the later rounds, later part of that first round. So I think that there may be 3, maybe 4 that can top in there, but the over-under was 2.5, and he's taking the under. I'm taking the over. I think we got to take the over on that of wide receivers being drafted in the first round.
Yeah, I was going to say, usually there's always quite a few wide receivers. There's always somebody that likes, the Raiders take anybody that run fast. It doesn't matter if they're good or not, or they can catch the ball.
Or if they go to jail.
Them.
Hey, watch yourself, Natter. Watch yourself.
Am I wrong?
But I mean, let's be honest. If somebody like Ibuki goes to like Kansas City or Buffalo,
it could be an opportunity for him. They could be definitely. I could see something like him going to a team like I just wrote about. The Kansas City Chiefs could be on the market for a wide receiver because you got Rashee Rice with his legal issues and the injury that he had, and then you got Xavier Worthy with his. Yeah,
now he's a nightmare.
They could be in the market for another wide receiver, and for me, it just happened last night with Russell Wilson going to the Giants. They got Jameis Winston. So the Giants, to me, are a team that is looking to build on this offense. Their defense was good last year. Their defensive line ranked top 10 in sacks. So they were really getting to the quarterback. Their offense, on the other hand, other than Tyrone Tracy to an extent, he showed flashes, but Malik Neighbors was a monster. I think they want to get another piece in there, and I don't know what they're going to do with Travis Hunter. I don't know but I think that they're playing with house money to either go with Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. I think they're going to figure a way. Hey, the defense is what the defense is. It's a good defense. I think they want a playmaker, and Travis Hunter can play on the defense if he wanted to, or he can play on the offense as well. So I think why not have a player who's versatile that's going to help the team? So I think Travis Hunter to the Giants right now is a player that I'm looking for. It could be Abdul Carter, but I think that Travis Hunter makes the most sense for me.
You know the saying, a good at all is a master of none, and it ends up just not being good at anything. Something like that.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah, something like that. And
just in case you wondered. Look at millennials trying to figure out old school sayings. Come on, man.
Come on. Hey. So I feel like Travis Hunter falls in that category. He's the jack of all trades, master of none. And I'm not going to say he's a bust. That's too dramatic. But usually people in the NFL, they're a master of something. They're really good at one thing, and they find the scheme that fits that really good thing that they're good at. And then that's how they excel. Travis Hunter, while he's really good at everything, he hasn't as far as we know, he hasn't mastered anything. And, it'll be interesting because if he goes and lines up as a wide receiver, he might be a good wide receiver, but that's an elite corner he's going against. And then same thing, flip-flops. If he's playing corner and he goes against Jamar Chase, I'm saying he gets cooked.
No, Natter, look, this is what I'm not saying. Travis Hunter, I'm staying away from him in fantasy. So, like, even if he plays wide receiver I'm staying away from him because of that simple fact we don't know. But I think he's going to be a weapon utilized enough in the offense to where he'll make some plays here and there. But as far as fantasy goes, now dynasty, you might still want to keep your eye on it. IDP, definitely, do what you got to do with him. But even with IDP, sometimes the cornerbacks, they don't really give you enough points because they don't do enough tackles. You got to rely on them getting turnovers, things like that. So it's one of those situations. I think he's good for the team, but fantasy, when we're on the level up, we're talking about fantasy. I think you stay away from him there, but as far as a team goes, I think he's a good fit for them.
It was interesting, but while we were waiting the 45 minutes for you to get on,
oh my God,
Bob and I, we were actually discussing this.
Oh,
we were actually discussing Travis Hunter, and we were thinking like, oh yeah, if it's an IDP dynasty league, you would have to smash him because if he does play consistently,
if you get points for both offense and defense,
if you get both ways,
that's like K.O. Otani,
especially because if he catches one pass, 2 passes for 30 yards in a full point PPR league, that's already 5 points. If he gets whatever on the defensive side, that's everybody's projection throughout the week. So I mean, he has the highest upside out of any defensive player, probably higher than a prime Aaron Donald at that point, because I mean there was just so much upside to him.
Well, you guys remember J.J. Watt with the Texans? He would catch touchdowns. He didn't do it a lot, but every once in a while,
I forgot about that. He did.
and then same with Mike Vrabel back in the day. He would catch a 1 yard touchdown here and there. I mean, it's just one of those situations. Yeah, you could have a guy who could be a multi-level player, and but that's going to be fun to find out. But we got one last question, Natter. We always have the question of the day. The question of the day is for Bob, so don't answer Natter. This is for him. Bob, tell us again what the Fantasy Football Expo is.
Fantasy Football Expo is basically, I think it was described to me as a combination fantasy football family reunion. So all of your friends and family are all getting together in Canton, Ohio, and we're all going to talk fantasy football all weekend. And then you kind of combine that with a 2-day frat party for some of us, not all of us. All of us can't hang, like we used to. But no, it is exactly what you think it is. It is a weekend of fun, fellowship, and fantasy football. It doesn't matter if you're male, female. The one great thing about our fantasy, family here is that, all of the crap you see on Twitter, racism, sexism, all this garbage,
I started it.
Talking trash, trolling.
I did that.
Yeah. All of that doesn't happen at the expo. It happens on Twitter because they all can hide behind their keyboards. It doesn't happen there. We don't see that. And so, I don't care who you are, what you are, come, enjoy, talk fantasy football, learn lots of great stuff. I learn so much every year. And I've been in this industry for almost 25 years, been playing over 40 years. And every year I learn something new, whether it's dynasty, whether it's redraft or players, because you've got the smartest people in the country there. The Bob Harrises, the Jeff Ratcliffes, Howard Benders, Jeff Manns, Andy Behrens, Dave Richards, CBS, Mike Clay occasionally from ESPN, and all of us. And all of us have our niche. We have our knowledge, whether it's my consistency or whatever Tip and Nader's bringing to you for the college players. We all learn from each other. And that's what's great about this industry. So whether you're a fan or a content creator or both, just come and enjoy. Again, the price is only $75 for the whole weekend if you get your ticket now before May 1st. And that gets you into every event all weekend long. And then from there, you can, spend your money as you want on food and drinks and various things like that. You get a free T-shirt, really nice dry fit T-shirt, a swag bag full with maybe $200-300 worth of value from every site that has a booth there. You get, again, entrance into everything. You can separately buy a ticket to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. You can join Draft Night Out and do that. That's only $30 to do some fun drafts at a local bar restaurant, a local sports bar. There's just so many other things. We have the Fans Classic this year that you can join and draft for the chance to play in the Pro Football Hall or do your draft in the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2026. Just all kinds of great stuff. And it's all there on thefantasyfootballexpo.com. Check it all out. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter at Bob_Lung or at the FF Expo. So there it is. Gentlemen, thank you again for having me. Always a pleasure. Tip, go home, take it easy, relax. You're good.
No, he's not.
Appreciate you guys.
Don't lie to him. I'm gonna go to the Expo as my burner account just so I control everybody still.
As the fantasy receipts.
Yeah, that's me. So I'm gonna go on stage with a microphone and go, hey, remember when you said Terrence Marshall was a good player?
Minutes late for his...
Yeah, Tip. Hey, Tip, you said the Raiders were gonna be good this year. What happened? You brought a puppet out to imitate the Chiefs. How'd that go?
Oh,
I got material. I got material for everybody. All I got to do.
I guess so. Maybe we should leave them home.
we do, and it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to get out there again, guys. I hope to see you all there. I know I'll see Bob
right,
there.
man.
Natter, get your ass out there, bro. We need you over there, man.
Fine, I'll try.
All right, send us out, Natter.
All righty. Other than that, hey, remember to follow at Tip Major for any updates on the Level Up podcast and all the articles that he phenomenally writes. Bob, where can everybody find you? Wait, you already said that, didn't you?
Many times.
Yeah,
That's okay. It's at Bob_Lung. And also at the FF Expo. And yet that the FF Expo is on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. So, and we're on Facebook too.
You're on TikTok?
I don't get on it. My marketing guy, Nate Cheatham, who he created a TikTok account for us and been putting stuff on it. I have no idea what's on it. So sorry, I'm old.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I don't even have a TikTok.
Yeah, I don't.
Like,
I don't have one. On
I'm really out of it if you have one and I don't. But all right. Other than that, everybody, good luck.
Peace.